For GRTS News, I am Aji Amisise.
The Gambia Diabetes Association, under the aegis of the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Thursday organized a day's diabetes self-care training for nurses from health facilities in the Greater Banjul area. The Ibuso reports the capacity building effort comes amidst growing concerns over the alarming rate of deaths blamed on diabetes. We apologize for that. Thousands of unqualified teachers from around the country are taking part in a training program funded by the World Bank and organized by the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education in all the regions. The training, which focuses on maths and English, is expected to improve the content knowledge of teachers in the areas as well as help them obtain credit pass at the end of the project sometime in 2012. That story by Mohamed Jamal Sise will come in our tomorrow's newscast. From there, we take our first break. The news continues in a moment.
Ay way Gamcel dafati nañ Gamcel ñëwaati na abe bi jag leppam ci biir Gamcel yaay borom jënd crédit xoos dugal mën nga ci win lu ne képp ku yeewoo Gambia may ma sa nopp ma dey la jëndal ñu scratch card bu Gamcel jëndal ñu xanaa gisal lu ñu defati jëndal ñu ay xanaa gisal lu ñu waxati jëndal ñu ay xanaa gisal fu ñu génne nooy la def ni buuj la def ay waay jëndal ñu bu ñaar fukki dalasi jëndal ñu mën nga win airtime set box bu la sànka bu juróom fukki dalasi jëndal ñu mën nga win bidon ngi diwlin bu ñaar fukki litre saaku ceeb dalal generator bu téeméeri dalasi jëndal ñu mën nga win juróomi téeméer junni dalasi jëndal ñu juróom junni dalasi fukki junni dalasi jëndal ñu Gamcel yaay borom.
Welcome back. Floodwaters in Pakistan have reportedly killed more than 200 people. The floodwaters are yet to recede and the lives of 5.5 million people, especially children, have been hit by the monsoon rains. Although Islamabad and other agencies say they are doing all they could do about the situation, many of the victims maintain that any help they might have is being swept away.
Before the rains came, they had little. Now they've moved onto the roads to save even less. We're heading into an area devastated by weeks of monsoon rain towards some of the 5 million Pakistanis who've been affected by floods. The village of Shabek Lud lost the houses once here when the rains began, the mud rising this high up on the mosque. And now, at the end of the rains, the village lost these. Some lives broken, others lost. It was in the collapse of this house that a man died at the start of the rains, but the recovery that's already beginning here is people coping for themselves. They say they have not seen a single government official since the rains began. During our visit, no sign of help from outside. The government and aid agencies say they're doing all they can, but here the fear's simple. With our crops submerged, how will we eat? Nobody's come to our village, he says. We're starving to death. We've been catching diseases. No one's come to treat us.
All my crops are finished. We'll die of hunger. My kids don't have a home, and we're living in a school nearby.
I'm scared because our houses have fallen and everything's been washed away.
In last year's floods, their village was largely spared, never imagining the same rains could come again and take everything.
French President Nicolas Sarkozy and the British Prime Minister David Cameron have traveled to Libya as the first foreign leaders to visit the country since the toppling of Muammar Gaddafi. Their trip may be significant, but the battle over there is far from over. Gaddafi loyalists are still in control of cities of Bani Walid, Sirte and the southern city of Sabha. Earlier today, a fleet of about 500 vehicles driven by anti-Gaddafi forces traveled to Sabha with machine guns and rocket-propelled grenades for what may be a major offensive against pro-Gaddafi's stronghold. Let's go with this report for more on their preparations.
Pickup arrives. The calm and quiet of the Sahara has been disturbed by the arrival of a force heading to loyalist strongholds in the far south. But this is a fighting force in the making. They're learning, literally, as they go along. In the early morning cool, Ahmed, formerly in Gaddafi's army, is giving a lesson in how to use a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. Everyone gets a chance to shoulder it, get used to the feel of it. It's only a matter of days, at the most, before they'll be in battle. Ahmed concedes it's a tall order to cram months of training into a few hours during the journey to the front. Of course, he says, but over the next day or two, we'll try to teach them. What follows are more lessons in the art of the heavy machine gun, how to load it, how to fire it. And then an anti-aircraft gun. Not everyone is new at this. 61-year-old former soldier Mohammed Arabi can chant and cheer with the best of them. The plan is to try to negotiate a peaceful surrender in the largest southern city, Sabha. All indications so far, however, point to a bitter fight for the South. It could be Gaddafi's last stand, warns Commander Ahmed Hasnawi. Their biggest concentration is in the south, he tells me. We even have information they want to set up an independent entity to be ruled by all the figures of the old regime. It's not all about fighting, however. A large group of doctors and nurses has also come along, with trucks and ambulances full of medicine. And not just the usual material for battle wounds. There's a humanitarian side to this mission. Dr. Hatem Abu Bakr was a car dealer in Tripoli before the revolution. He says he made more money selling cars than practicing medicine.
There are two missions. One part of the mission is to keep all the people with us in the front line safe. The other part is that Sabha is now closed since 1 month. And I think all the stocks are near to zero.
Most essential is water. They've brought thousands of bottles. In this heat, dehydration can be deadlier than a bullet. By midday, the force finally starts to move.
Now they're finally moving out, but it's still a long way to go. More than 300 kilometers to the front lines outside Sabha.
It will be a long, hot, and difficult journey. Ben Wiedemann, CNN.
We now take our second break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Fatim Baji, has pledged her ministry's resolve to wipe out malaria in the Gambia. Food and agricultural prospects of the Sahel and West Africa region are taking center stage at a forum summoned by Interstate Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel. Floodwaters in Pakistan have claimed the lives of more than 200 people, with 5.5 million others badly hit by recent monsoon rains. And rebel fighters in Libya are set for a major offensive against the southern city of Sabha, where forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi are still in control. You are reminded that you can also follow the day stories and other Grts programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor Grts Radio Live. That's all in this edition of the news. Thanks for being there. And from me, have a wonderful night.
yaay borom.
Salaamaaleykum. Fii mooy El Hela.
waaw.
dama bokkoon ci raful bi de xaw ma nag naka la.
da nga bëgg a xam ni mu demee.
waaw nu mu fa demee.
gis nga El Hela bii. 41022 bii.
waaw
El Hela ko fi indi. safal ko ba mu saf neexal ko ba mu neex boo déggati rek bii lay tax ñuy wax El Hela bii moo tax ñuy wax 41022 borom El Hela nag nee na gannaaw bu yéen a koy jënd warga wi. di ko naan mu baax ci yéen ba dee nee na mu delloo leen njukkal.
naka
paquet yi soo ko amee téeméer nga ñëw El Hela boo dem nag ci réewi Gambia bi foo xam ne fii rek am nañ fa makkaan soo fa duggee joxe fa sa téeméer ne tekk nag toog déglu weer bu dee bu nekk ak fukki fan ak juróom bu nekk ci la ñuy def raful bi soo wénee dinañ la oo ne la win nga